thanks everyone for attending this webinar. We're psyched to be here today, nestled in between World Cup football matches, and with three distinguished guests here to talk about the Jellyfish Illuminate Awards and how three engineering leaders and teams achieved excellence using data. I wanted to give context on why we're here and what are the Jellyfish Illuminate Awards. So this is the first year that we're actually doing this. We want to make it an ongoing thing. We think we see so much great work and great results with all of our customers that I think just sharing those stories in giving them the recognition they deserve, and also getting them out and letting people, bringing forums together like this so we can talk to each other about them is super high value. So we're really excited to do it. And the three awards that we did this year as kind of the inaugural Jellyfish Illuminate Awards, there was an innovation award. And so the winner there is Submittable, and Jess will be able to tell more of the story for Submittable winning the innovation award. So congrats to Jess and thank you. The second award is the Excellence in Engineering Operations Award. And so ironically, even though Jess is the engineering operations professional here, Loadsmart is the winner of the Excellence in Engineering Operations Award, and Gustavo's here to help share that story. So congrats and thanks to Gustavo. And then last but not least, going back up to the upper left on my screen here, Alex and Hootsuite are the recipients of the DevOps Metrics Award. And so congrats and thank you to Alex and Hootsuite. So those are the award categories, and in going through the stories for all of these awards, I think we one thing that I took away, I was a judge on one of the award panels. We kind of did a divide and conquer thing. So I'm not even going to tell you which one I judged. But one of the things that I figured out after we came back together and organized this webinar is that in almost all cases, this stuff is such a team effort. And if we're talking about, a very, I think Jess's story is very different than Alex's story, but at the lowest level. But when you kind of zoom out a little bit, all of this relates to, kind of the fundamental principles of what we're all trying to do at our software organizations, which is, get the most out of our engineering investments, build great software, ship it, early and often, make our customers happy, drive the business forward. And whether you're, coming at that from, deployment frequencies and change failure rates, or whether you're coming at it from, managing deliverables, or whether you're coming at it from, looking at all the stats and metrics in between, I think it all comes together to kind of tell, in service of the same goal. So it's really interesting to go through not even just the award winners, but even the other nominees and all the submissions that we had. So that's one thing that I really liked about this process, and why I'm psyched that we're doing this award series. So with that, I think I would like to, and we talked about this a little bit beforehand, I'd love to also facilitate some crosstalk between people. So I don't want this to be a Phil asks questions of award winners, and no one else chimes in. I really would love it if Alex and Gustavo and Jess are talking to each other as well. But I will kick it off, and I'll start with you, Jess. I think a lot of the maybe can you give us maybe a brief overview of the story? I'll summarize what I know from the award submission, right? The thrust of the story was that Submittable was making what counts as kind of a strategic transformation from being a sales-centric organization to a product-centric organization. I can speak to that from past experience and maybe present experience. When you're scaling a company, I think sometimes selling stuff is what you need to do in the beginning, and then to make that work at scale, you need to start doing things that are a little bit more repeatable. And so that I've seen that transformation be kind of a required ingredient to success in the past. Maybe you could give us the Submittable version of it, what motivated it, and how you all aligned around it.
Yeah, definitely. So hats off from sales driven to technology and product driven work. Love it. But as far as Submittable goes, like I said, tomorrow is my 2 years. When I was hired at Submittable, it was a very small organization, you know, lots of changes. It was in the middle of COVID, and Submittable, as what the platform is or was, excuse me, then and still is today, is a kind of a grants-based application type of platform. And we had the pleasure of assisting and helping people all over the country and the world, whether it was their business, personal stuff, through COVID, and providing aid. And it just stirred up this whole idea with our CTO, Andy Wright, who had come in just probably a couple months before I started here, and wanted to try and take what Submittable was already doing and latch onto this idea of corporate social responsibility and dive even further. So he created this elaborate roadmap to start pointing our developers and where we were hiring and what we were putting our energy into as far as development and product work, and designers to see how we can continue to build upon what Submittable already was and give even more back to the community in that way and have more stake in it. And so with that being said, you know, we have this roadmap, we need to have more headcount, we needed to have more metrics and data to say, yeah, we can hire this person, we're doing these things, we're building this. And that's how it became so much more than just a sales driven company, because it was about the technology and the product and the people that we were delivering it to. So that's kind of my long story short of how it went from A to B. Here we are. And, you know, this Greenfield project that we've been a part of, now we have volunteer as part of like that first phase that was on that roadmap. So it's real life, it's happening. And using Jellyfish to measure those metrics to continue to support the headcount and the forward momentum and enablement of this product work. And it's pretty rad. So without going too much, if that helps.
No, that's really cool. I appreciate you sharing the story. I think it's in some ways it's like a necessity is the mother of invention thing. I think a lot of us kind of got thrust into interesting circumstances in 2020. And I think for those of us who are in tech, a lot of those ended up being surprisingly good. And so just, you know, it was all about how you respond to it and how you kind of play it forward. To your point about like, you know, Andy's roadmap and or you know, the team's roadmap, you know, as pushed by Andy. Like part of what we talked about as in the application process was, you know, looking at, you know, starting putting process in place around quarterly business reviews and other engineering management ceremonies to really, you know, kind of drive and measure the change. Can you give a little bit more detail about that? And because I think, you know, for the people in the crowd, like that kind of advice, like those kind of examples are worth their weight in gold. Like any lessons you can share.
Absolutely. And so as you Jellyfishers know, we have investment categories that measure, you know, within Jira what we're doing. And we decided that we would have product roadmap work and engineering roadmap work, so that way we can see the shift in how things change. Those are our two like primary investment categories. No surprise there. And so for our QBRs, or quarterly business reviews, shortly after we finally got everything kind of succinct with Jellyfish and Jira, and I was able to pull clean reports and metrics from that. I made I think it was like for like Q2 of 2021, I took, you know, like, what is it, April through July, and I was like, okay, here we go. And this is, or through June, excuse me, pardon me. And every single thing that shows up on that overall, you know, these are where your company's at, that screen, I made a slide of that, so that way our entire company, our board members, everybody that has some kind of investment, whether it's mental, monetary, you know, emotional, to see where we were, you know, in March and how it changed, like that shift. You see those colors of those investment categories from being like maybe down here to like keeping the lights on to being like, holy lick, we are working so much in product driven work. This is incredible. We're really doing what we're saying. And then I followed that side up to show like the exact, like these are the 10 top epics of effort under product roadmap work. These are the 10 top epics of effort in engineering roadmap work for that same time frame. So we could see where the FTEs were going, where the effort's going. It's like my receipts to say, hey, these aren't just pretty colors. This is real. And this is being measured from your work, that you're not doing anything extra except making sure you're putting it in Jira so I don't go crazy. So it's just been phenomenal to see kind of like the insights and the feedback from people that maybe don't go into Jira for anything and have no need to, but they have an investment regardless. And I think it's helped quite a bit just for that high level overview of we are doing what we said we're going to do and the changes are there. So that's kind of my quarterly investment that I give.